Thank you for jumping on, Tim.
It's great to be
So
on.
I've known Tim for a very long time. I've gotten suits off him for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only recently that you've opened up Theodore and you've moved into this new residence, which is, like I said just before, the best office to walk into. It's awesome.
We're in Surrey Hills, by the way.
But I've never had someone get me drunk to buy their products. So my first question is the alcohol a ploy to get people to buy more suits?
It's a strategy. loosens up the muscles, loosens up the brain.
You know what? It's actually funny you say that. When I was first coming in to visit Tim, I had in mind I was going to get maybe 1, 2, max 3. I walk in the doors. I'm mesmerized by what I see. He pours me a glass of scotch. Turns out I bought 5 suits and 10 shirts. So it must. It proof is in the pudding.
It's the confidence. Oh, well, you know what? Like with the industry that we're in, with everything that's custom, anybody that walks in can kind of be paralyzed with the choice. This liquid magic can simplify what you want and almost it's a great upsell, you know, like but that's not the purpose. Like what we're trying to do here is connect with our clients and open up that their sort of story to us, and I think it goes both ways. We enjoy it.
I've been dealing with solicitors this afternoon buying for a client, and solicitors are just such a headache. So I don't know, just had to
no hate to solicitors.
No hate to solicitors.
They need suits.
They need suits as well.
Dot and cross it, the only solicitor I will use.
But go
ahead.
So we're thinking today, I was like, what type of questions I want to learn from Tim? And the first thing that came to mind was, how do you start, or what comes through your mind to think I'm going to be a full-time professional who makes tailor-made suits?
Yeah.
Tell me about how that came about. Like, surely in kindergarten, you weren't thinking about this.
Definitely didn't start in kindergarten. Ultimately, it was just reps. I was probably a little lost in my path during my 20s, just with the lack of purpose. And it was always a question that I had at the back of my mind as like, am I walking in my purpose? And sorry, it's a long way to get about it, but I've always been in the fashion space, whether it was working in retail in Blacktown, flinging trackies to
Really?
$10 trackies to
to
people who were still trying to haggle me for $10 trackies.
Really?
To working in the more fashion space with modeling and all of that, and then got an opportunity to work for a tailor-made suit place, and that kind of led one thing to another. But it's probably that principle of that 10,000 hour rule. I don't know if you read the book of Outliers.
Yeah.
But that's, if I reflect back on it, that's probably it. Like, people would look on a surface level with what we're doing right now and what we're achieving. But the amount of hours, self-doubt, perfecting a craft that is not necessarily like a common path that many people take.
How many years have you been doing this for now?
We're coming up to 16.
16.
Yeah.
16 years.
A long time.
Just in menswear. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
And how long's Theodore been running now?
We're coming up to, this is actually, August is our first year anniversary. So we launched the website 1 year ago. And that's a story in itself. But my goodness, like, what a hell of a year to kind of kick off something that was a big dream of mine.
Mate, a roller coaster. Mate, it's kind of exploded, has exploded over the past year. What do you attribute that to?
Ooh, firing off the questions. The idea, positioning ourselves in the market with our product offering.
So let's talk about idea and positioning. So being a suit and a tailorer, how do you
Tailorer. I love it. We're creating words
creating
here.
words, but doing what you do, how do you separate yourself from the rest and kind of position yourself? Like, tell me a bit about that. That's something I'm quite interested in.
Yeah, look, suits are a timeless product. There's very little deviation in terms of design on a suit. Where we sort of step in and try and give a new spin to it is we've created this contactless measurement app that enables anybody around the world to have access to a tailor-made garment. And so this app that we've developed generates about 60 unique body measurements that we review, and we get a tailor-made garment from it, and we've done that multiple times with people that live in Wisconsin to Darwin to Tasmania. So, for these guys, they don't have access to tailor-made options, and we've made that accessible for them. And so that's something that we've really filled in the gap with.
Are you selling most of your suits in this store or in person, or is most of it online now?
Yeah, it's quite balanced. I mean, the traffic that we're seeing either with our in-person experience here in Sydney and our pop-ups interstate is healthy. But being a year old only, I think the next step is to really leverage off the tech that we've built and push that as a product offering, because it's a powerful tool to have that. It's blessing a lot of wedding parties that don't have that ability to measure up groomsmen that are located in remote areas. So yeah.
In terms of the tech and all that type of stuff, I'm guessing you got a company to build that?
One of our directors is Tech Genius, and this is part of what, just going back to your first question and the recipe of what makes what we're doing somewhat of a success, and building towards that is the people that you surround yourself with and the people that you let into your house. So shout out to Sean.
Legend.
He's
love you, Sean.
Yeah, he's like that Rain Man sort of personality, but he helped develop that app, and it's gone through. I guess the COVID break, that was the catalyst. Like how we were locked down for how many months. We saw it as such an opportunity to work on what we were building on a platform base. Like the hours spent was it was heavy, but we got to where we're at right now. So that's exciting.
Did Theodore, did this idea come to fruition in New York City? So if people listening don't know, Tim lived in New York City with his partner for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Did it start there?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It honestly didn't. It's I think the path I was running in New York was just trying to make number one, ends meet. It's a very difficult city to live in, but my goodness, talk about character and the stories I could tell you.
Let's talk about it. What's New York City like?
It's ugly.
Really?
But it's beautiful. My goodness.
Is it just cutthroat? What the things you see in the movies and in the TV episodes is just cutthroat. Everyone.
No, so actually surface level, that's what it sort of is portrayed as. But on a ground level, the people that you meet there are the most encouraging, most willing to connect you with other people. And that was such a huge lesson because there were like masterful networkers that weren't cagey, that weren't like, okay, this is my circle of like network and that's it. I want to make sure I want to protect that. That's how it was. It was the complete opposite. It's like, no, I want you to meet this guy because it can further whatever I was doing. So that was huge. And like one thing as well was the power of mentorship. As like someone who was brought up in Australia, in Sydney, it's not something that's a common thing with a lot of young guys trying to pave their path in whatever career they want. What I found anyway in New York was like, there was a lot of people, young people that had, my mentor said this or my mentor said that. I was like, what the heck?
So did you end up getting a mentor in New York?
No, well, by virtue of the industry I was in, which is tailor-made suits, I got to meet such a spectrum of professionals. And I guess I was, through that role, living vicariously through their experiences and got to tap into, asking questions that were, beneficial for where I was at. And they were willing to give that advice.
And you did some suits for some NBA players?
Yeah, I did.
Who'd you do?
So Wendell Carter. It was the draft of Luka Doncic.
Oh, wow.
But he wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Who else did you get? Did you get Shy?
Shy,
Yeah, really?
Gilgeous Alexander. Yeah, so he's pretty good. He was actually, I actually didn't think he was gonna be. I thought he was gonna be a bust.
Really?
Yeah, just with the personality, because I was like, who's this guy? Like
Absolute
he was
weapon.
like complete alpha, like in the room.
Yeah.
But these guys are like, I'm not overly tall, but like I'm not short. But these guys were aliens at 18 years old. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
Giants.
How are you guys this tall for the age that you're at? So
How did you even get into that? How did you get into doing NBA players' suits?
it was just through a network with a company I was working for at the time. Mm-hmm. But the whole experience of and chapter of New York was pretty much, a lot of it was a blank slate. It was your responsibility was to, pave a way for and just create your own opportunities. And the city was built for that. The city was built to accelerate whatever growth you wanted. And that was all dictated on like how much work and hustle you'd put in.
Yep.
So what made you move to New York and then come back?
It was a job opportunity there that made me move over, but it was very much a desire I had when I first traveled there. Yeah. Felt the energy of it. Like it was something that I thought like, what's something that would scare me enough to be like, ooh, like, do I doubt myself, but I want to tackle this challenge sort of thing.
Yeah.
And New York was that, especially with no history of friends or family there. Let's just try and make it.
And at that time, I remember like previously when you were talking about not finding your purpose, had you found your purpose prior to going over, or was that the discovery phase where you really formed Tim and the Theodore?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was 28 at the time and I still had no idea where my life was going to head. And sometimes it requires a bold decision to give you the space to breathe and then reevaluate. And that was just it. Sometimes you do need to make a decision that requires fear. Yeah. And I think that was an important lesson because it does, yeah.
What were the lessons, if you touch on lessons that you learned in New York?
Back yourself, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you have the ceilings that you put upon yourself are your own thoughts and your own sort of preconceptions and how you were raised. But moving over there, it sort of was like a blank slate. It's like you define it and you go all in. And that's the sort of attitude that you take to be successful. And that's what we're trying to do here. Like, sure, there's so many hurdles to tackle and there's a lot of uncertainty, but man, let's go on and let's do it and do it right. And so that's the mindset that I've been instilled with.
And you guys are hustling as well. And whenever I thought of a tailor, I thought it was a 9-to-5 job, right? So I came here and met up with Matt Everingham, who's been on the podcast, and we came and had dinner with you maybe a couple of months ago. And it was like 10 p.m. at night, 10:30. We finished up at the restaurant across the road, and we walk over, and one of your workers is suiting up like 5 guys in the back room. And I'm like, what the hell? What are the hours like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 7-day slog, and we're open till late. Like, I'm so proud of the team here that they get it. They get the vision. They get what we're trying to do and trying to build here. And that's, like, I'm just blessed by, like, that they've got that. Like, the guys at Manor, like, same thing. Like, it's just a culture that is so, like, it's intentionally built. Yeah. It can't just like come out of nowhere. So yeah, that's the typical. Yeah.
What time do you knock off daily on average? I know it's a bit different every day, but if you were to call it an average day.
Yeah. Well, we finished at about 11:30 last night, but that's no, like, the thing is that is not a good example of how you should live your life, because that is not a good balance right now. We understand that. So me and my wife, you know, we're in this business together. She's full-time in the company. And this is the hurdle right now, balance. Because at a young age, you can kind of run hard while your body allows it to, because saying no is harder than saying yes. So yeah, we're probably on this arc of figuring out what the right balance is in terms of health, relationship, and then business.
Yeah. And that's another interesting thing. You work with your wife.
Yeah.
That's what people say not to do. How do you manage that? Obviously she's here, but she's brilliant.
Yeah.
But how do you guys manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I manage that because I need her.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, she's the creative officer here. So the creative direction is crucial in the industry we're in.
Yeah.
We're all about image. We're all about selling an image. And as shallow as that sounds, it's the reality. Like, people judge you the first 7 seconds of meeting you, and it's usually they look you up and down and let's see how we treat you, you know, sort of thing. But anyways, so that's the dynamic that we have. But very much it's like, it's a challenge, you know, but we've got a communication where we've separated the WhatsApp chat for business and then personal.
Yeah, nice.
So we have practical steps that enable some sort of a balance, but
did you come up with that practice, or did you learn that from somewhere else?
she did it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. Like, that's the
you guys work well together.
Yeah, that's the value of choosing your right partner, man. Like, you guys aren't married yet, are you?
Not yet.
So like, yeah, you gotta really make sure you make the right decision with who you choose for a life partner, because like, in terms of conflict resolution to like communication to acknowledging what each other's love languages are, you know, that's important, because that is, and I'm sure you've tackled this with a lot of the guys who I know mutually with you guys. The greatest mark of success for them is what happens at home. And as long as I can try and keep that healthy, like, I'll be okay.
Yeah. In terms of the way that you're handling the hours, are you still, I know you said you were trying to get back in the gym, but in terms of working out, sleeping, managing that 7 days, are you getting to work out? What are your sleep patterns like? Yeah.
Look, the best scenario for me, like hypothetically, it would be working out first thing in the morning, and then.
What type of workout are you doing?
Oh, we're doing some heavy deadlifts.
Some heavy deadlifts.
No, I I went through this period of like running, and I only got into it because I hated running. So I thought I'll do something that I don't like, and so running was
That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you almost became like a David Goggins, but a suit version.
You hit the nail on the head. If like I tell you what, if I had to choose any audiobook that changed my life, it was that. David Goggins.
Why is that?
Just that he'd probably like pushed that boundary of what was possible. I was like, yeah, it was. I think he was talking about the 40% rule or something like that, where if you think you're at your max, it's really about 40% of what you're capable of. So yeah, that was just like, a good chapter where I listened to his audiobook and just got a lot from it. You know, just in terms of pushing yourself and pushing your boundaries. Yeah.
So wake up early. You start with either a run or some heavy deadlifts.
Sorry.
A bit of David Goggins audio. What precedes the rest of the routine?
I think getting the most difficult thing out of the way first thing in the morning is crucial.
Messaging the wife.
Oh no, kissing her before I go to work. Like that's the easy part. And then just being in the right. Oh, actually, what I did start doing as a religious practice was this Wim Hof method. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
The breathing?
The breathing.
Yeah, I used to do it full time.
Yeah, that was something like I picked up in quarantine and lockdown when we were in there, and that was I was able to hold my breath for 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
What did you start off at? I'm guessing it wasn't that.
It was like a minute or something like that.
Wow,
Dude, I
that's
did it
a
this
long
morning.
time, dude.
I did it this morning. I got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
Yeah,
wow.
4 minutes. So I wanted to get to 8, but man, like
That's nuts.
yeah, because you sort of
Is that healthy?
well, the feeling that you get out of it is almost like a runner's high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it's good, isn't it?
it's so wild. Like what you can push your body to.
Kevin, it's the same as when you get a cheeseburger.
I get it now. I get it. Sounds great.
Yeah. So that was.
Not for me.
Yeah. No, Kevin, we're gonna work on getting you in your nice tailored suits, like how you were in 2016.
So I've got about, I don't know,
How many suits do you have?
15, 18 suits that don't fit me. That Tim's made all of them.
Wow.
And they just don't fit. I'm working on
Mate,
it though.
that's terrible. We do these podcasts with people who preach good health, fitness.
I have.
Here you are, a successful agent, and you can't even fit into your suits.
In my defense, I've lost 4 kilos. Thank you very much. Wait until the next podcast. It'll be another 4.
How many suits do you have, Tim? Fuck, surely 40, 50.
It's around that 37, 8 mark, but you only wear 20% of your closet if you're honest with each other.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, like probably
That's a
less
good
than
fact.
that.
Oh, Kevin's sake, 5.
Yeah,
Oh, my suit's 1. In terms of suits, where do people go wrong when buying suits?
Yeah,
What do they do wrong?
fit is probably a huge factor in getting the right suit. So we obviously specialize in custom tailor-made garments. It's such a tricky question to answer because like I think if you go through the effort in buying a suit, like I think that's commendable. Like you're trying to, whether it's off the rack or, you know, at Kelly Country or whatever, like, you know, like that, not dissing to Kelly Country, but like, you know, there's just levels to it. I think that's it's a commendable act. The act of you trying to better yourself and show respect to someone you're meeting with wearing the suit is that's a good step in the right direction.
I remember when I was buying my first suits, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you suggested get the foundation ones first. So I'm guessing the navies, the greys, and then expand into the more out there colors.
Fruity ones, yeah.
Yep. What are the basics? What are the first 5 suits you should have?
Oh yeah, Steve Harvey, where are you? You see that? You see that TikTok?
I have.
Yeah. So black, navy, charcoal, grey, brown is more contentious because of
Yeah, what do you think of brown? Where are you going to wear a brown suit?
I love brown.
it's coming. It's coming.
I love my brown suit.
Green is in right now, but brown is there's a resurgence.
What's your take on the sneakers, Maxes, and the t-shirts with a suit?
I love it. I think I'm all for it. Like I'm not necessarily a traditionalist where you have to wear brogues or like laces. Like I like that that take on that semi-casual. Like Kim Jones is great. I don't know if you know him, but he's a designer. But like that sneaker sort of look is great. But the fitting of the suit has to be complementary to, say, if you wear Air Force Ones, you need a suit that can't be too slim. It has to be more relaxed, but calculated to make that look flow. But that's the trend I'm sort of seeing across the board with this shift from less suit, 3-piece suit and tie to more deconstructed look.
What about the no socks?
Yeah, I mean,
You like it? You don't like it.
I'm not a hater of anything. Okay. Like if it, as long as if it,
You just didn't want to say it because Daniel walked in here with no socks.
he's got no socks right now, upon my instruction.
Oh,
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right. Fashion eater.
Yeah, look, if I'm in a business, like proper business, I think the no socks is probably where you draw the line. But I think if it's like casual, just a few inspections or just casual going out for a coffee, I think the no socks brings out a
Those are
bit of
nice.
style.
Are those Tim's?
Yeah,
Theodore's?
they are custom made shoes.
Custom shoes,
From Theodore.
custom suits, custom shirts, custom jeans.
So
That's 50% off my next suit.
let me address where you would
draw the line.
no, like where no socks would choose. It only works if the tapering of the pant around the cuff is
Slim? Yeah, okay.
And at an appropriate height. It's when it becomes too boxy around that area.
Yeah.
That it kind of looks off.
Yeah,
and it looks like
Looks stupid.
Looks like, where's your socks?
Right, that's what I didn't realize that. I tried to wear no socks a few months ago, and I looked at myself. I'm like, I don't look like Daniel when I wear no socks. I'm like, something looks wrong, and I think that's it.
yeah, that's probably it.
That's probably.
What about in terms of the culture of suits, like going to New York? You do suits globally now with your app. that changes the way men order custom garments to fit. What's the culture like internationally in terms of suits? Who's got the best quality suits, and where would I be going if I wanted to be the number one for suits?
Surprisingly, there's such a common thread with what guys from New York to the UK to New Zealand want.
Really? Same as here?
Yeah.
So we all wear. So if I went to New York City right now, we'd all be wearing very similar suits.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, New York City, like they like to push the envelope a little bit.
More creative? Or?
Oh yeah. They like to go for more out there colors. But to be honest, it's not like I probably suited up more out there colors here in Sydney than in New York when my time was there.
We're half of them Igors.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Igor. Love
Yes,
you. But yeah, fit wise, like you'd think, US, New York, like they like it a bit baggy.
No?
No.
Okay.
Oh, from my experience anyway. They like that sort of tapered sort of silhouette.
I'm starting to see a trend where a lot of people are starting to get, and you do it as well, more custom casual wear too. Are you seeing that that's exploding now as well?
Yeah, I think it's just out of convenience because we do at Theodore, we do jeans, chinos, casual pants.
That's another suit 50% off.
Shout out.
So with all the stuff you're doing, like, can you teach us how do you dress? Like, if I'm going to a party, what should I be wearing? If I'm going out for a business meeting, like how would you dress someone from start to finish?
I mean, everybody has their unique personality when it comes to expressing how they want to dress. So, Like there's always going to be that variability. Like what I wouldn't want is a cookie cutter, like this is what you wear, this is the Theodore.
Yeah.
You know, look. Obviously we try to keep on brand with what we try to push out to the market, but like seldom do I see a 35-year-old wear ripped jeans. Not hating on ripped jeans.
You don't like ripped jeans.
I love ripped jeans.
Oh.
But at a point,
You got to stop wearing it.
at a point, maybe there's a better alternative, which is like chinos, possibly. But
Do you wear ripped jeans?
yeah, I wore it today.
There you go.
But each to their own. Like,
Yeah.
do I wear that in front of clients and like people who I wanna, yeah. Like it's look, it's just I don't wanna play both sides here, but it's one of those things that I'm not gonna hate on someone who has a style that is unique to them.
Yeah.
That's what creates flavor, you know.
How many suits have you sold to one person in one go?
Coming up with such great questions, Kev.
I'm just curious. Who dropped the most amount of money? Like who actually? Well, I don't need to know who, but like how many suits did someone buy all in one go?
I've had double digits
Wow.
before, and that's great. They just kind of want to refresh their wardrobe, which is, you know, they see. I think the clients that we serve, they see the value in having a wardrobe that they don't have to think twice about.
Yep.
And they know that every single garment fits consistently perfect or right. But I'll tell you a crazy story. And there's levels to the industry that we're in. I was in New York and I had dinner with this interesting young Korean guy. And he was...
Korean.
yeah, Korean.
Do they wear suits?
Oh mate, we're gonna get into it. So this he was like 21, young guy, but he was keeping up with the conversation with the technicalities of what I knew with suits. I was like, oh geez. And he was wearing a suit to this dinner that we're at. And we got talking about the suit that he was wearing. It's like, oh, that's a nice suit there. And he's like, yeah, I spent about $22,000 on it.
What? You think he was
What?
Chinese?
USD.
What?
Yeah.
Why? How does
you tell?
What's the difference between $1,000 suit and a $22,000 suit?
Great question, Kev. So what we specialize in is made to measure. There's two forms of how you tailor a suit. Made to measure.
Which means what?
Made to measure and bespoke. Bespoke means that the person a true bespoke suit is the person that measures you, which is what I do with your suits. They take it a step further. They create the suit for you. So they actually spend 40 to 60 hours hand stitching a garment for you. And it goes through multiple fittings. It's that labor that creates that price difference.
Is it any better?
If you appreciate the art of it, yeah, for sure. Like I hold so much respect for those tailors that have spent their whole life dedicated to this art, and that is that's a huge calling on someone to like dedicate their whole life
massive.
to create a suit.
40 to 60 hours building one suit. That's a long time.
Yeah. And that's artistry. That's pure artistry. It's just like a artwork, you know?
If I was to put on a $22,000 suit, and I don't know suits the way obviously you would I appreciate that? Would I know the difference? Would I feel it? Would I see it? The average Joe Blow.
I think you. I think you would. Like I asked this guy, I was like, you know what? Like, how does it feel? You know? And he's like, oh, it's like it feels heavy, but it feels like I have nothing on.
Okay.
But I think a lot of it, just like
Is it Fugazi?
Fugazi.
Could you tell looking at him that it was 22,000?
And that was my own naivety. I didn't know that level of tailoring, that I would have that that insight as to picking it out from a dark room. But having said that, it's like, I think part of it is like, hey, I spent this much. It's like having a Rolex. Oh, it's a Rolex. I spent.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I mean, that's a flex, right?
Yeah. You're flexing.
Yeah.
You're flexing.
Yeah.
So the bespoke is 40 to 60 hours, 20 grand. The guy who measures you stitches you up.
Correct.
And then we go to
what we do, which is we have specialist stylists who measure you. So they basically interpret the measurements and how your body posture is, and they translate it to our tailors who are offshore, which machine cut it, then hand finish. And at that volume, that's what, at speed, in terms of that, that 4 or 5 week turnaround.
Yeah.
That's what's possible.
But bespoke suits, how long do they take? How many weeks would you be waiting?
They could take months.
Really?
Like multiple fittings. It depends on the actual bespoke tailor in how they assess what perfection looks like in their mind.
Yeah.
So they could go at it a couple more times and still not be happy with it. So
Really?
yeah, that's why you justify that 5, 10, 20K mark. Like it really is an experience.
And then what's the difference between going into Tom Ford or, I don't know, what's like a really nice suit where you can pick something off the rack? But
I mean, it's off the rack, so you have standard sizing. So as you could probably imagine, everyone has different body shapes. Like I was measuring some of the guys earlier. They all had different, they're not like a set 38, 42. No. There's nuances on everyone's body, and that's what off the rack kind of doesn't cater towards. So that's what we specialize in, and especially with our price point, we kind of make it palatable to people who historically have bought off the rack. This is just a great alternative.
you guys actually have some really good pricing. Like I was blown away compared to what I've paid in the past for TaylorMade. Like I walked in and was like, it's very affordable.
Yeah, it's probably too affordable. But this is part of our growth arc, is that we needed to be priced competitively if we're going to be an online based platform. That it needs to be palatable for someone who can be comfortable paying a certain price online, which is sub 1,000. But thankfully, with Afterpay and Klarna and all of those payment solutions, it helps.
Yeah, you really shouldn't have said that. Now he's going to up his prices.
Yeah.
You just bought heaps of suits. You don't
Mate,
care.
I walked in, I was like, 2, 3, max suits, thinking that I was paying what I've usually paid at Bespoke.
Yeah.
Or I don't know the different. Anyways, walked in, I was like, dude, this is so affordable. Like it makes sense. Because I think as well, if you're a professional, the way I see it is the work we do. I think if you're a trader, you invest in your tools, right? And I feel for people like professionals or real estate or whatever the case may be, your appearance and the clothes you wear are almost like your tools. And what is your take on that? Like investing in your appearances, is that something you think people should do more of, or
What do you reckon I'll say?
When's that kind of when do you think someone should be spending or investing in TaylorMade suits? When's versus buying off the rack, for example?
Yeah, I think everyone's got their own sort of financial situation, but I think you guys could probably attest to when you walk on the street, you could probably tell when someone's wearing a TaylorMade suit versus an off the rack suit.
Yeah, it's so easy to see now.
So once you've experienced that, you can kind of tell off the bat, and So like when is that point? That's hard to say. Like with Afterpay and Klarna, it obviously makes it a bit more achievable for some young guys who are starting off in the industry. But where we're at, we make it less intimidating.
Yeah.
Because I think like with your experience, it's like first class. As soon as you walk through the door, you're thinking you're gonna pay like what
Yeah.
3K, 2K on a suit,
Yeah.
and it's not that. I mean, our stylists here, like we run this like a Michelin star restaurant. At
Yeah, you guys do.
every point, at every sort of tone we want to hit, it's got to be precise, and that's what grows us as a brand and grows our reputation.
It's true.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kev? When do you think you should start investing, or if you shouldn't or shouldn't? Like, you hear people like Gary Vee will be like, oh, you know, like
I only got my first tailored suit a couple of years ago. It wasn't really that long ago. I wore the same suit from David Jones every day for 4 years straight. Like, it was ruined. I think that it's super important, especially in a real estate industry or any client-facing industry. So important that as soon as someone starts in my team, I get them tailored suits. If they're going to be representing my brand with my clients, I don't want them looking like the average Joe Blow that just got a suit off. Like, we're selling, $2+ million houses all the time. I don't want them walking into a $2+ million house wearing it. Now, it might just be my perception of it, and maybe I'm thinking of it the wrong way, but I think there are some people that will judge, and I think we got to be very wary of that. People do judge, and I got to play to those factors too. So that's why as soon as someone starts in my team, I get them a couple of tailored suits from Tim. So I think it's super important. I think that, and I'm not saying go buy 5-10 suits straight off the bat. I'm not saying that, but at least have 2 suits, 2 nice suits that you can swap around. And like, what you're paying here compared to, like, you're going to go to David Jones and spend $500 to $700 and then go get it tailored anyways. You might as well just come here, spend a tiny bit extra, get something that you really want, fully customize it to the way you want, that looks real sharp, and you can tell the difference between you and somebody else. I think it's super important. Like, as soon as you get in for 2 suits, I think it's the right idea.
I think there's power in like the consistency of how you look and how you carry yourself. So like, if you're coming out of Mercedes as a stereotypical agent, like you want to be matching that energy, right? And that's no means a indication of your shallowness. Instead, it's the opposite. It's the respect that you give to your client, your seller, or your buyer. That's the lens that I look through.
Plus, if I'm selling a house, right, and someone walks in and they look sharp, they look good, even though they can present well, and someone comes in, presents the exact same, but looks not so good, I'm probably going to pick the other agent that looks good with a tailored suit. It's my biggest asset.
Yeah. And I mean, each person has their own sort of approach. It depends on where they're at in terms of geographically, how that, set of clients would respond to someone who's in a 3-piece suit with a tie. But I think, if you genuinely prioritize how you wear your clothes, like that not only like is an influence on that person you're dealing with, but it's also a reflection on like how you carry yourself and how you wake up in the morning. That pride is something that we want to keep, like, culturally, like, it's probably going the other way where people are a little bit more relaxed. And I think we're obviously selling a product that goes the other way. It's like, we want to.
Is that hard being I guess against the grain?
No, I don't think it's hard, because I think there's a subset of
clearly not with the fucking.
No. there's a subset of the community that values good clothing, and not only that, just the experience. And I think just like how you guys deal in the space that you're in, it's very much a people based service. Like, people aren't coming here just to get a transactional suit purchase. They want to connect. They want to feel like they're going through an experience, because what you wear is usually attached to an experience. You know?
It's such a good experience. Honestly, I can't speak more highly of it. From my experience anyways, I'm just going to share a little bit of it.
Sell it.
This is not meant to be a sales pitch, but mate, I was blown away. So you're greeted, the door is open. You ring a doorbell. So let's just start with the doorbell. You ring a doorbell at this door. Nice, inner city, Surrey Hills kind of living, right? You're in a terrace. Ring this doorbell. I'm greeted. Welcome, Daniel. Like full knows your name. Greeted at the door. You walk in. Lighting's phenomenal. There's suits everywhere. You've got awesome decorations. And then first thing you do is you're greeted with either a glass of scotch, a coffee, or some sparkling water. And then like just from there alone, like just the experience. It's like going to gold class versus going to watch, I don't know, a movie like the footy at home. Like that's kind of, but then like the outcome, that it's such a difference. Like going gold class, you get all this fun, nice experience, and then you're all versus watching the footy at home. Both are great, but like to me, the experience was like going to gold class.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Mate, it was just, and like I said, I was planning to spend to get a couple suits, and I walked out with more than what I had in mind. So you must be doing something right.
Well,
It's the alcohol.
Yeah, probably.
It's such a good experience.
One of the best quotes I heard, and I'm going to cook it, and I think Oprah said it, is that people don't remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
I didn't cook it. I think that was right.
That's true. Yeah. I've heard that before.
And that's another thing I forgot to add, is that like you think tailor-made suits, like where do you start? What do I pick? Like you can get cool braidings of like, I got DB on my pants, I've got Beetle in my jacket, some cool like patterns and that. And like when you go to, let's say David Jones or Maya or Politics or whatever, you don't really know where to start. And like you ask the girls and the people that serve you, and they just, basically no help at all. And then you translate that coming here, and it's like, I was just like, Tim, go for gold and do your art on me. And like just that whole process of me not having to think about it. You show me the booklet and I can get a sense for what I'm buying. You take my measurements, like everything was just done for me. I had my input where I thought it was needed, but then I could like let go to you, and you could like make the perfect art form for me. And I think that was just like, you can't replace that.
What an experience.
Yeah. I just had to, I'm blown away. That's why I was like, yeah, it's just hats off to you, man, because it's fun. It's fun.
It is a fun experience.
I feel like
you feel like one of those chicks on like that go and just spend and shop. It's like I hate shopping for clothes, but it made it like I'm keen to come back and buy my next one. Yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun experience.
Yeah, look, I think being passionate about what you do, man, like it just makes your life so much easier. Like if you can, it's like there are some days where I don't feel like coming in, and that's just normal human behavior, right? But if you know that you can push yourself to, just do what you love. There's always a reward after that.
What's the daily tasks that you usually do? Come into the office. What are your first tasks? What are you doing throughout the day? What are you doing at the end of the day?
You must be drunk by the end of the day. I was thinking that tonight. How many times do you drink scotch a day? Sorry, I interrupted your question.
That's a good question too. I want to know.
Maybe I'll plead the fifth.
Do you want a AAA contact number?
So I had a blood test relatively recently, and the uric acid was higher than it should have been.
What's uric acid?
It's like it usually affects your liver, and it's correlated with your high alcohol and red meat intake. So that's how you can kind of get gout, if you've ever had that. No. Not that I have. Anyways, what was the question again? What was my scotch? But daily task. Because we're such a
global
client-focused company, it's very much that. Like, I think if we get our ABCs right, which is taking care of our clients and making sure that they're heard, they're felt, like their words are, listened to, and that we're providing an exceptional experience, I know the company's going to be okay. Bigger picture stuff and where we're going to go globally, that'll only work if like
Nail this.
HQ is healthy.
Where do you expand to next?
So we've done we're rolling out a strategy right now with interstate locations and just doing pop-ups, and the reception we've received is so encouraging. So that's going to be an ongoing thing. But just like how I was saying earlier with going for it and just going all in, like we want to have a presence in the US, and that's very much a direction we want to head in. We feel like the market there is ripe for what we do, and I think let's roll the dice. Like if everything's going great, like come on.
Do you move to New York City again?
Sydney's great. Sydney's awesome. So
Lost.
I mean, we'll see. Like,
Don't move.
won't be able to visit your office.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah,
What about London? Would you tackle the English,
the
Pommies?
Mecca? Yeah, the Mecca, Savile Row. I think like we don't rule that out. We're going at like a quarter at a time in terms of reevaluating our growth, and I think it's important to have a clear vision as a owner of a company, even though it sounds weird saying, but like it's very much, I feel like very much part of the team in fighting in the trenches. But at the same time, like you have to have such a unwavering vision with what you want to achieve. That's an important. Yeah.
Are you 7 days?
Yeah.
Eesh.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's not
Do you ever
healthy.
get burnt out?
Don't do 7 days.
No way.
Do you ever get burnt out?
I don't know what burnout looks like.
Like, oh, just fuck, like just.
You don't get that. You don't go, I'm over, I don't want to come into work today.
No, I never. Well, you don't have a choice at that point because you got like 10, 11 mouths to feed, and it's like that responsibility is inherently there.
How did you build up to getting 10 to 11 mouths to feed? Like,
And it happened quick.
tell me about the prospecting. How did you generate business as a tailorer?
Yeah, I love it. We're creating words here. Mate, it was. I mean, this correlates to the industry you're in. Door knocking, mate.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
You door knocked.
Oh, mate, I was door knocking in the most remote places trying to flog suits.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Wollongong.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you get a Wollongong?
Mate, I'll tell you. Do you know Jake Moore? He's like an auctioneer. Shout out to Jake Moore. He's a guy that I like a door knock back in Wollongong, and like these are some of the connections you build. And this is what I want to instill with the sales guys is like the most important skill that you could probably learn is the ability to convert someone from who's a complete stranger to someone who's like a value connection that is probably a lifetime partner. And Igor was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I door knocked him way back in the day.
Really?
And I absolutely gave him the worst fitting suit you can imagine.
Really?
And he was like on my ass about like the fact that it was just a shit fitting suit. And so that like 8 years later,
So
that
was at
evolved.
Harcourts.
Yeah, that was at
wow.
Harcourts. And 8 years later, I was carrying this like
Wow.
bloody bright red luggage. Like my shoes were just so worn out, like trying to go from agency to agency, trying to drum up business. Igor was just like a great example of how you could go from one extreme to like, he's one of my, my closest mates and clients, like the biggest supporters, you guys probably know.
Yeah.
And that it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
So, the relentlessness of cold calling to...
Did you have any training on like scripts and dialogue? Like,
No.
or you just like, I've got a vision, I've got a plan. These are the people I want to serve. And you just like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a script to learn off. I think the biggest asset was I always love the figuring out how to connect with someone, you know, and that's a very like there's scarcity in that skill, and that's for a salesperson, and I think we're all salespeople to some degree.
Yeah.
The ability to connect with someone, there's an art to it. And I thought, like, let me figure this out. Let me figure out how I can pace my conversation with someone or talk about certain things that might appeal to them. So the value of like knowing a little bit about everything is great, because, you know, the spectrum of personalities and people that we encounter.
So talking about connecting with people and you know, understanding people, you obviously nearly lost Igor as a client first go. How'd you save it?
I think maybe he can back it up, but he recognized in me that I was committed enough beyond the job role title I was in to make it right.
Yeah.
So that was probably, it was based off my personal reputation. It's like, I'm not gonna, like, whatever I have to do, I'll just make it right.
So you just made a new suit, or what happened?
Yeah, I can't really remember, but I was working for another company, like my first company that I went into tailor-made suits with. Absolutely cooked it. It was a crap suit.
Oh, so you were working for someone else's brand at the time?
Yeah, for someone else's brand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was just an employee, and that was terrible because I wasn't getting paid. You know, that was like.
So if you door knocked and got Igor as a client, at the old company, would you get incentivized with commission, or was it just you?
Well, on paper, yeah, but that never really happened.
Wow.
But looking back on it, I'm like, you know, you have to know your value. Yeah, that's important. But my goodness, the value that I got working in the trenches in terms of generating leads.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Wow. So you had to generate your
You're a
own leads.
hustler.
Yeah. Like it's like even in New York, like that was like almost a decade ago. Even New York.
Was that a decade ago?
Yeah, probably.
New York?
No. Like when I first got into the tailor-made suit industry.
Yeah.
When I was in New York, I adopted the same sort of mentality, and I was literally kicked out of a office building for prospecting.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
In New York?
So you're just hitting the pavement.
I loved it.
Knocking.
Yeah, I loved it.
Wow.
Like it was just one of those things that.
Do you guys do that? Your sales reps?
Nah, they're a little bit more
haven't got the drive.
coddled. Yeah, but that's fine.
That's same as my guys. Doors tomorrow.
Was there a target? Like what did it look like prospecting?
Yeah, I mean we had sales targets. I mean, just like any sales role, but like, you know, I wasn't necessarily.
So you were actually a sales role.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily driven by if I hit you know X amount, I'll get this amount in commission. It was just more so like I wanted to push myself and see like what was my limit in terms of I mean that.
Would you be the biggest tailor suit making company in Sydney at the moment?
Nah, no any.
Really? Like I'm not talking about like you've got a big corporation.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about not that other big corporation, I'm talking about the smaller guys. Like, are you one of the biggest out of those guys at the moment?
I can't answer that accurately.
Yeah.
We know the lane that we're running in, and we want to flourish in what we do, and so that's the thing we want to focus on. If I have a healthy house here, which is the team and the dynamic, then I know that we're going in the right direction, and God's kind of like in control in that.
And with your guys, then, are you training them yourself, or are you getting outside support to train? Or
I'm training them myself on pitch, delivery, terms of how they present themselves, like all of that. I think I assume they respect that because they know and they see it every day with me in front of clients. So it's not like I'm coming from a ivory tower telling them what to do. It's do as I do.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, like obviously you guys are like I'm consistently just admiring like what you guys are doing at your age, because bloody hell, like these guys are how old are you now?
27.
27, and
Man, I just turned 24.
this is what I mean about going after it. Like,
You got to give it a crack.
oh man, yeah, you got a window.
Yeah, I know.
Window.
Not very long.
Yeah.
Okay, being where you are now, old man, 30 something years old.
Jeez.
What's your best piece of advice for the younger audience or people like myself, 24, 27? What would you share, learnings, lessons, failures, or even skill sets you think can lead you on the right trajectory?
This wasn't rehearsed. You haven't never asked me this question, correct?
No, never.
Yeah. Okay. If you can, if you can be entrusted with the little, you can be entrusted with a lot. So if you can approach every task that you've been assigned to with such diligence and such pride, yeah, it's preparing you for the biggest stuff that's ahead. And you can't quantify that. You don't know what's ahead in 5-10 years time, but you got to be prepared for it. And if you can be, diligent with that, and like honoring of the tasks that you've been set, that's going to prove dividends when those bigger like tasks and challenges come up, because they will come up.
Yeah,
they will come up.
Is there an example you've lived through your life that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, let's take door knocking as an example. I remember when I was let's just take for example in Wollongong, like I drove there like thinking like what am I doing? Like I've got a suitcase of fabrics and I'm like trying to make connections with agents that I don't know if they're going to be there or not. Wheeling it, like carrying this heavy suitcase, like wheeling it in a 3-piece suit with a tie in like 30-degree weather. And I'm like thinking like, okay, what is the takeaway that I can come out of here? Like I'm not getting paid a lot. But I know this skill that I'm building, and my mom's been a great wise sage when it comes to these sort of things. Like if you can really like see the lessons in those moments of isolation, and like you're by yourself and you're like you've got business cards like ready to go, ready to fling off. So I mean, going from the lessons I learned then to how it translated with when I had to do investor calls, you know, like that was a build up to that point, because it was like, okay, I have to make a connection with someone who's in Wollongong, like cold connection, like, hey, do you want a suit, blah, blah, blah. And bringing that energy, and that sort of refined that process in pitching on a larger scale. Presentation wise. So yeah, I think everything counts. Everything counts.
for sure.
I think,
Legendary.
yeah.
What about for the older audiences, 30 years plus?
Far out.
Does the advice change or stay the same when
How
you're old and
Do you hate people over 35 years
I
old?
was like, what does Matt Everingham or Richard Bainey think?
what are they meant to be?
They're like senior citizens.
But they're absolute legends. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Love
take
those
away from
blokes.
people over that age is that they've got that actual experience. Where I caught up with Matt the other day on a situation I've been considering, and it's just having someone like you were saying with mentorship, where you can bounce that conversation and you can get a perspective where I can't see that path, but they've been there and experienced it to give you that just those points that you just don't don't see.
Yeah, that's a value of mentorships, because they've kind of run that race and they've gone through mistakes or successes. And I mean, like, I'll use Matt as an example and Rich, because like consistency is a hallmark for what they do. And even Michael Coombs, shout out to Coombsy.
Get him on the podcast.
What a guy. Like, he's when I look at someone who has such a great family life, and
He's got balance. He's got real balance.
just presence, you know?
Yeah.
And you know that with people.
Yeah.
I have close friends as well that have that trait, that, you know, when you're in a room with them, they have this sort of presence that is just grounded. And that's the legacy that you kind of want to leave behind, right?
And the life you want to live too.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
It seems like a happy life.
Yeah,
really.
you'd hope so.
But Legend, I've got one last question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite suit that you own?
Ooh.
All-time favorite that you got?
I love a seersucker.
You love a suit. What color?
Just something.
That's a seersucker, yeah?
No.
It's a version of it.
Oh,
Slight
really?
version of it, yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at something practical. Like, I just want to be comfortable in it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at
They
the
are
moment.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite? The blue, the green?
Yeah, just the navy.
Yeah.
Because I can wear it casually. Can wear it like.
Do you wear your suits? You probably don't even have a casual life, but do you wear suits casually, or do you wear your ripped jeans?
Nah, like today I went in ripped jeans, but like I wear suits casually. So whether it's like with with chinos, or black, just plain black jeans.
Yeah.
That's dressing like a 33-year-old right there.
Oh, that's what I have looking forward to.
But like, yeah, there's I think having some intention with how you present yourself, always important. So that's it.
Well, very greatly appreciate your time, the great Tailorer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to connect, learn from the wisdom of those who are much older and successful than yourself. So cheers, Tim from Theodore.
Cheers, guys.
Appreciate your time. And if you haven't bought your tailor-made suits yet, please come to Theodore & Co. and get your made.
What a time.
What is it? Made tailored measures?
Yeah, tailor-made suits.
Tailor-made.
Legendary. Thanks,
Awesome.
Timmy.
Cheers, guys.